Toward the end of 2025, a defense project that was expected to shape NATO's future airborne surveillance capability unexpectedly collapsed. What followed was a rapid shift in the global defense market. Within a matter of weeks, a European alternative emerged and quickly gained attention across the alliance. France stepped in with a major investment, committing about $1.3 billion to purchase 2 advanced surveillance aircraft, while also securing options for 2 additional units. This move happened at nearly the same time the plan to acquire the E-7 wedge-tail aircraft fell apart. The timing was significant, and the consequences began to spread across both Europe and the Middle East. The market for airborne early warning systems started to change almost instantly. The financial details reveal how serious this development is. France finalized an agreement worth 12.3 billion Swedish kroner, roughly $1.3 billion US, with Saab to acquire 2 GlobalEye airborne early warning and control aircraft. These aircraft will be built on the Bombardier Global 6500 platform. Delivery is expected to take place between 2029 and 2032, and if France chooses to exercise its additional options, the fleet could eventually grow to 4 aircraft. This deal came shortly after NATO officially ended its effort to purchase 6 Boeing E-7 wedge-tail aircraft. Once that plan was abandoned, 9 allied nations suddenly had to reconsider their options. A market that had long been dominated by a single expected solution was suddenly open again. The turning point came on November 13, 2025. On that day, the Dutch Ministry of Defense confirmed that NATO partners had collectively suspended the wedge-tail acquisition plan. The original group involved in the project included Belgium, Germany, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Norway, Romania, and the United States. The first major withdrawal came from Washington. In July 2025, the United States decided to step away from the program. The Pentagon pointed to multiple problems, including rising costs, delays in production, and concerns about whether the aircraft could survive in highly contested combat environments. Once the United States pulled out, the entire structure supporting the multinational project began to weaken. Without American financial and strategic backing, the program quickly lost stability. Dutch officials later stated that both the strategic logic and the financial foundation of the project had effectively disappeared. The cancellation left NATO facing one of its most serious surveillance capability challenges in decades. At the moment, the alliance depends on 14 Boeing E-3A Sentry aircraft stationed at Geilenkirchen Air Base in Germany. These planes form the backbone of NATO's airborne early warning capability. However, these aircraft are extremely old. The E-3A fleet first entered service in 1982, and the aircraft themselves are built on the Boeing 707 airframe, a design originally developed in the 1950s. NATO plans to retire these planes by 2035. That timeline leaves less than 10 years for the alliance to replace one of its most essential command and control systems. NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte has already confirmed that efforts to identify a replacement are continuing, while emphasizing the need to accelerate the process. The E-7 wedge-tail had originally been selected to fill this role. Built on the Boeing 737 platform and equipped with advanced radar technology, the aircraft was supposed to modernize NATO's airborne surveillance and command capability. But over time, increasing costs and growing concerns about performance in modern high-threat environments caused confidence in the program to decline. Once the United States withdrew, European partners faced a difficult decision. They could continue the project independently at a far greater cost, or they could reconsider the entire strategy. Ultimately, they chose to reevaluate their options. That decision created an opportunity for Saab's GlobalEye system to move from a competing proposal into a leading position. France's decision to select GlobalEye rather than an American platform carries both strategic and political implications. The contract was finalized on December 30, 2025 by France's Defense Procurement Authority. The move reflects France's long-standing focus on strategic independence and stronger European defense cooperation. The GlobalEye aircraft will eventually replace France's current fleet of 4 E-3F Sentry aircraft, which have been operating since 1991. By selecting the Swedish-Canadian system instead of an American one, France effectively tied its future airborne surveillance capability to a European industrial partnership. France is not the only country adopting this system. The United Arab Emirates was actually the first international customer for GlobalEye. The UAE ordered 5 aircraft under a contract valued at about 23 billion Swedish kroner. With deliveries taking place between 2020 and 2024. Sweden itself has also purchased 3 GlobalEye aircraft for its own air force, with deliveries expected to begin in 2027. With France's confirmed order of 2 aircraft and the option to purchase 2 more, the total number of GlobalEye systems ordered worldwide has now reached 10, with the possibility of rising to 12 if France exercises its options. Interest in the system is continuing to grow. Saab CEO Mikael Johansson explained during the company's February 2026 financial briefing that 9 NATO member states are currently evaluating options for a shared airborne early warning solution through the NATO Support and Procurement Agency. A decision from these countries is expected during the first half of 2026. Beyond Europe, Saab has also confirmed interest from several Middle Eastern nations. Analysts have pointed to countries such as Qatar and Saudi Arabia as potential buyers. Within NATO itself, Germany and Denmark have been mentioned as serious candidates considering the aircraft. Each of these potential deals could be worth hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars. This rising interest comes at a time when Saab is experiencing one of the strongest financial periods in its history. The company reported roughly $1 billion in new orders within a single 3-month period, marking the best quarter it has ever recorded. During the same time frame, Saab secured a major $3.66 billion contract from Colombia for Gripen fighter aircraft. The company is also exploring possible production partnerships in Canada together with Bombardier. At the center of GlobalEye's appeal is the aircraft platform itself. Bombardier produces the Global 6500 business jet at its advanced manufacturing facility located near Toronto Pearson International Airport. This facility opened in 2024 after a private investment of around $670 million. About 2,000 employees work across 17 production stations, assembling aircraft that are continuously manufactured for the commercial aviation market. Bombardier has already delivered 7 Global Series jets to Saab, which then converts them into GlobalEye surveillance platforms. After leaving Canada, the aircraft are transported to Saab's integration facility in Linköping, Sweden. There, engineers install the ERI Extended Range Radar System along with a full suite of advanced mission equipment. The completed aircraft is capable of detecting targets at distances exceeding 450 kilometers and can remain in the air for more than 11 hours. It also has the ability to monitor air, sea, and land environments simultaneously. This multi-domain capability has become extremely important in modern warfare. Today's threats can appear from many directions at once, including low-altitude drones, long-range missiles, and naval forces. Systems that can track all of these threats in real time are essential for coordinating defensive responses. The industrial and economic impact of this program could also be substantial. Saab estimates that roughly 12,600 Canadian jobs could be connected to the broader aerospace cooperation package. Approximately 9,000 of those jobs would relate to Gripen fighter production, while another 3,600 would support GlobalEye manufacturing. Production facilities could be established in both Ontario and Quebec, supported by a nationwide network of aerospace suppliers. Bombardier has acknowledged these discussions and confirmed that it is prepared to contribute its expertise if the Canadian government chooses to pursue the project. Meanwhile, reports indicate that Saab and Bombardier are examining several potential assembly locations, including Bombardier's existing Toronto facility and its operations in Dorval, Quebec. Another possibility is the construction of a new specialized manufacturing site depending on the scale of production. Ontario's Economic Development Minister Vic Fedeli even traveled to Sweden to discuss the opportunity, suggesting that provincial incentives could be offered to attract the work. The situation in Canada also connects to a broader debate about fighter aircraft procurement. Canada previously committed to purchasing 88 F-35 Lightning II fighters from Lockheed Martin, but funding has only been approved for the first 16 aircraft so far. Prime Minister Mark Carney has ordered a review of the $19 billion contract amid growing trade tensions with the United States. Public opinion surveys conducted in late 2025 indicate that many Canadians favor diversifying suppliers. According to one survey, 43% support purchasing Saab Gripen fighters, 29% prefer a mixed fleet of Gripens and F-35s, and only 13% favor buying F-35s exclusively. Canada's Industry Minister Melanie Joly has openly stated that the country needs greater defense independence from the United States. She confirmed that discussions with Saab leadership have already taken place. These talks are supported by the Canada-Sweden Strategic Aerospace and Defense Partnership launched in August 2025, which created a formal framework for expanding cooperation between the two countries. However, there is still one major limitation. The Gripen E fighter uses the American-built General Electric F414 engine. Because of this, exports of the aircraft remain subject to U.S. international traffic and arms regulations approval. Even if the fighters were assembled in Canada, the engine dependency would still require American authorization for exports. The situation is different for the GlobalEye surveillance aircraft. The Bombardier airframe is Canadian, the radar technology is Swedish, and the engines are manufactured by Rolls-Royce rather than an American company. This means GlobalEye can be exported without triggering U.S. ITAR restrictions. For many governments, that independence from U.S. export controls represents a major advantage. France specifically cited sovereignty considerations when choosing GlobalEye instead of an American alternative. If several NATO countries ultimately adopt GlobalEye as a shared surveillance solution, the scale of future orders could be enormous. Even conservative estimates suggest that potential purchases could range from 18 to 36 aircraft. With unit prices around $650 million, total contracts could reach between $11 and $23 billion. Saab currently produces about 3 GlobalEye aircraft per year, meaning production capacity would need to expand significantly to meet such demand. That expansion would directly benefit Bombardier's Canadian manufacturing operations. Meanwhile, the broader defense market is also shifting due to Saab's fighter aircraft success. In late 2025, the company reported around 100 billion Swedish kroner in total orders, equal to roughly $11 billion US. In November 2025, Colombia signed a $3.66 billion deal to purchase 17 Gripen E and F fighters. A few months earlier, Thailand ordered 4 Gripen E aircraft for approximately $550 million, strengthening Saab's position in Southeast Asia. In October 2025, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky visited Saab's production facility in Linköping and expressed interest in acquiring between 100 and 150 Gripen fighters, although negotiations are still ongoing. Peru is also considering the aircraft as part of a competition that includes the F-16 Block 70 and France's Rafale fighter. Today, the Gripen E is either in service or on order with Sweden, Brazil, Colombia, and Thailand. As defense budgets increase and countries reassess their reliance on a single supplier, Saab continues to appear more frequently on international procurement shortlists. At the same time, NATO faces a clear deadline. Its current fleet of airborne warning aircraft must be replaced before 2035. With GlobalEye already gaining international orders and attracting interest from multiple alliance members, the future structure of NATO's airborne surveillance network may soon undergo its biggest transformation in decades.